2024 just around the corner, it's only natural for wrestling fans such as myself to start to speculate what kind of matches we're gonna get in 2024. Because a lot of us are predicting that 2024 may just be the greatest year in professional wrestling history. At least that's what it's shaping out to be. And for it to be the greatest year in professional wrestling history, we're gonna need some pretty kick-ass matches. So today I'm gonna give you the 10 matches that I so desperately want to see in 2024. And if we even get half of these matches, I'm gonna be happy, if I'm being honest. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. And if you want even more content, make sure to check out patreon.com/SantiZap, where over 170 of you are already pledging. Thank you for your support, because YouTube ad revenue is all over the place. You never know when you're gonna be able to make a living, so helping out on Patreon lets me do this on a full-time basis, so thank you. All right, let's get into it. Look, I know that I've talked about this match ad nauseum, but I speak about it ad nauseum because I desperately want to see it, and I think that we are so close to actually getting it. I think it can happen in 2024. I think we can get Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. In an ideal world, this would be for the Intercontinental Championship, but dude, I don't care. This could be a bra and panties match, and I'd still want to see it. Okay, scratch that. But hang on, I might be onto something there. Like I said, ideally for the Intercontinental Championship, but so long as these two are in the ring, I'm game, and they can have all of my money. I know that a lot of us were clamoring to get this match in 2023, and frankly, there's just not that many credible contenders for Gunther, considering the crazy, wild run that he's in. Gunther has more or less completely steamrolled over the entirety of the mid-card on Monday Night Raw, and there's really no one credible left on Raw or SmackDown that is in that mid-card scene that could really topple him. So at this point, Gunther either has to move up to the main event scene to defend that thing, or he needs to defend the Intercontinental Championship against a star attraction that only comes every once in a while, and I think a perfect star attraction is Brock Lesnar. When it comes to the sanctity of the sport, I don't know, I can't do a German accent. Brock Lesnar brings that sanctity. He brings the legitimacy of his amateur wrestling background in NCAA, his UFC background, and of course his many years of dominating in the WWE. There's very little room for Gunther to not respect the Beast Incarnate and not want to have a match with him. I think it's too perfect. And let's be honest, at this point, Gunther could have a 17-star match with a cactus, but Brock Lesnar is capable of also having a fantastic match with just about anyone. And you put these two together, and I think we're due for a potential match of the year right here. I don't want to ask for this too much, because last time that we asked for this too much, we ended up getting Omos versus Brock Lesnar instead, and I don't want this to end up being Omos versus Gunther, which, Jesus Christ, that is not an actual impossibility. That could actually happen. But damn it, we're gonna will this into existence. Give us Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. I don't care what the stipulations are. It would just be a dream match. Look, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel with this video. I never said that I was gonna come up with some matches that you were never going to think of, because I live by one model. It's called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. It just works. There's no need to reinvent Einstein's theory of relativity when you have something in front of you that we all want to see. Why wouldn't we get it? Obviously, it's trending towards the fact that we're likely going to get CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, but I also wouldn't put it past the WWE to keep these two as far away as possible for as long as possible, so that we clamor for this match more and more. In recent memory, the WWE has done a pretty good job of keeping people that we want to see far away from one another. Just look at like Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I know that like they've barely had any sort of interactions compared to these two, who have already had a fantastic promo battle against one another. But I'm just saying, there is precedent for the WWE to keep people away, even though it just like makes sense to bring them together. To me, this is a WrestleMania main event, like night 2 quality type of match, both in terms of the star power, in terms of the story that they could tell, and in terms of the in-ring work rate that these two can provide. It doesn't matter that CM Punk just isn't at 100% of what he once was. I feel like a 60% Punk is still a very good professional wrestler, but then you pair that up with a Seth Rollins that is at the top of his game right now, and we're more or less guaranteed to have a fantastic matchup. This is just one of those obvious ones that I think we all want and we believe that we're gonna get. I just don't want to jinx it, because I wouldn't put it past the WWE to be like, we'll save this for WrestleMania 41 or some bullshit. Also, I'm just realizing I'm wearing a headset for some reason. There's nothing coming through these. I don't know why I was wearing them. Here's another one that just like makes sense that I know that we all want to see, but narratively we are very far away from getting this. To me, there is no doubt in my mind that had Randy Orton not been hurt, heck, had Cody Rhodes also not been hurt, that at some point or another, we would have already gotten Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. In fact, like just kind of think about things real quick. Think back to the Raw after WrestleMania, that spot where Brock Lesnar just randomly came out, pretended to be Cody's friend, and then attacked Cody. Does that not make more sense for that to have been Randy Orton? Like, to me, that seemed like it was written for Orton. And we ended up getting Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar in a trilogy throughout 2023, and I wouldn't have been surprised that that was originally intended for Randy Orton. Like, in terms of star power, like, it just makes sense for these two for at some point or another to collide. But then we also have the fact that history is on the side of this as well. For those that might be younger, may not know the history of Cody Rhodes before he was in AEW, Cody Rhodes was a member of Randy Orton's faction called Legacy. The whole point of Legacy is that every single member of Legacy had paternal legacy in the WWE. Randy Orton's father and grandfather were professional wrestlers, Cody Rhodes' dad, and of course Ted DiBiase Jr.'s father as well. And this whole concept of legacy as a faction can now work towards legacy in the today, as both of them are trying to build a legacy for themselves and leave a lasting legacy that will be remembered by everybody. Randy Orton trying to become the 17-time world champion, which I'm starting to believe he deserves, and Cody Rhodes trying to finish the story. So at some point, these legacies have to clash at some point or another. Plus, it's Cody Rhodes versus Randy friggin' Orton. Like, dude, I don't care what the story is. Just put these two in a ring. They can only keep these two away from each other for so long. Come on. We need to get Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at some point in 2024. Look, the WWE has done everything, including moving mountains, to make sure that Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch do not cross paths. They even sent Becky Lynch down to NXT so that she can stay as far away from Rhea Ripley as possible. But the fact of the matter is that on Monday Night Raw, there hasn't been anyone with enough star power or enough credibility to really threaten Rhea Ripley's title reign, which is why her title reign has felt weak and has felt uneventful. Like, no disrespect to the people that Rhea Ripley has beaten, but they are just nowhere near the caliber of somebody like Becky Lynch. So why hasn't Becky Lynch gotten an opportunity at Rhea Ripley yet? I'll tell you why. Why? Here's why, because they're trying to save it for WrestleMania. But here's the thing, like, trying to save these things for a major show sometimes just comes back and bites you in the ass because injuries happen. Look at poor Charlotte Flair. She's gone for 9 months. So whatever plan they had for Charlotte Flair, which was probably to have a match against Bianca Belair, is completely out the window. So I wouldn't mind if they just pulled the trigger on this a little bit faster. Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. Just fingers crossed that none of these two get hurt before WrestleMania. And shit, if I end up being wrong and this isn't the WrestleMania program, then, dude, I don't know. Just Monday Night Raw at this point. Sunday Night Heat. Yeah, let's go back in time. Let's bring back Sunday Night Heat and make them have a match. Just anything. I don't care. 2024 is the year where I desperately want LA Knight to take on Logan Paul. Logan Paul hasn't done anything with the United States Championship. I know that he's waiting, as of the making of this video, for the results of the United States Championship #1 contender tournament, but I just don't really see where they're gonna go with that in terms of a narrative. Sure, like Kevin Owens is gonna win that, and cool, Kevin Owens against Logan Paul, fantastic. Like, I'm all down for that, but that's just not the program that I want to see. Now, right now, Logan Paul and LA Knight are like completely like mega far away from each other. LA Knight is busy in the main event scene, and Logan Paul is busy Logan Pauling. But when it comes to star power and the types of personalities that we're talking about here, that being LA Knight and Logan Paul, it just sort of works, right? Like, LA Knight is the big boisterous personality, the guy that knows that he's better than you and he acts like he's better than you and he has all the confidence in the world and the skill to back it up. You think I might have just described LA Knight. I was actually describing Logan Paul. But that's because they're kind of the same person if you think about it in some way, shape, or form. Their match would be great. Their interactions backstage backstage, contract signings, podcasts, media appearances, whatever it might be, all of it would be gold because they're just kind of two peas of the same pot, and it's a pot that I kind of want to cook with. I want to let this pot cook. Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley. Roman Reigns just doesn't have enough people left to go up against, enough people that are credible contenders to his championship. One of the few that's left, and one of the few that we haven't really gotten to see him match up against is Bobby Lashley. There was a moment, I think it was 2021, these years are starting to melt together, where we were most likely supposed to get Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, champion versus champion, but Big E ended up cashing in on Bobby Lashley before that match could happen, so we haven't really gotten to see this matchup while they're both, top tier main event players. Now, do I think that Bobby Lashley poses any sort of threat to Roman Reigns and his championship? Sadly, no, but I still want to see it because there's just not that many credible matchups left that give main event or a main event wonder aside from Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. And I know that Roman Reigns only competes like 10 times a year, and I think that we can make room for Bobby Lashley for him to be one of those 10. And with LA Knight already having a shot, it's proven that we don't need to have this deep interwoven bloodline multiversal narrative for Roman Reigns to have to face you. We can just do a one-off 1 month program that's gonna kick ass and bring a lot of eyeballs, and I think this can be one of those one-off programs. Gunther is the only guy that I have on this list twice, and can you blame me? Gunther is just putting on the best matches that the WWE has seen in decades, and he would put another 17-star classic with the fella that we have right here. His name is Ilya Dragunov. Now, I know some people that watch my videos may not necessarily be familiar with Ilya Dragunov. Maybe you don't watch NXT. Maybe you really only focus on the Monday Night Raws and the SmackDowns of the world, and that's it. And that's okay. If that's all the wrestling that you're able to watch, I'm just glad that you're watching wrestling because wrestling is cool. But let me educate you on Ilya Dragunov by just simply saying, oh my God, he's amazing. And Ilya Dragunov and Gunther have already faced before, back in NXT UK and in NXT Black and Gold, back when Gunther was called Walter. And these two had a set of matches that I am telling you will melt your eyeballs out of your face. They were just perfect, right down to the last minute detail. Now, for this to happen, we're going to need Ilya Dragunov to get called up to the main roster sooner rather than later, because I know what we're all thinking, all right? We all want this, but we all specifically want this at Bash in Berlin because the crowd would just go bananas for these two. Gunther being from the neighboring Austria and Ilya Dragunov being Russian, but being somebody that grew up in Germany. So that would be kind of like home turf for him, and that crowd would just go absolutely bananas for both of these two. And fun fact, Ilya Dragunov is one of the few people that has cleanly beaten Gunther twice. So if you're not familiar with Ilya Dragunov, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. This match would absolutely slap cheeks. I believe, are the youngsters still saying that? I don't know, man. Slapping cheeks. What does that even mean? Well, I know what it means. I just whatever. I'm not going to get into this conversation right now. Braun Breaker versus John Cena would be another annihilation of John Cena. And I've come to terms with myself that this is what John Cena is here to do. John Cena is here to help build the next generation of WWE superstars. And there is no more quintessential next generation of WWE superstars right now than Braun Breaker. Again, for those that might not follow NXT, that might not be familiar with Braun Breaker, think of Braun Breaker like the Goldberg / Roman Reigns of NXT. That's what I want you to think of him as. He's 25 years old. He kicks ass. He's very good. He's very intense, and he is likely going to be the next John Cena of the WWE. He's going to be the future of the WWE. He's going to win numerous world championships, and he's going to get catapulted to the top of the moon. And I think one of the ways that they could do this is by having him destroy John Cena. They've already had a run-in with one another that almost turned physical in NXT when John Cena went down there to make an appearance. So we have a little narrative fabric to be able to interweave to eventually give us this, whether it's on NXT or on the main roster. At some point, point, I want to see in 2024 Braun Breaker destroy John Cena and spear him in half. Yeah, this one's going to take a while. I kind of already alluded to this one, but Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair was most likely where the narrative was going to go for these two at WrestleMania. It easily would have been the biggest marquee match of the women's division on SmackDown, but with Charlotte's injury having her out for up to 9 months, the likelihood of that happening is now 0. But 9 months is not 12 months if math has taught me anything, and it's taught me very little, but it's taught me that at least. So it means that there's still a possibility that we could get this in 2024. Maybe Charlotte has a super fast recovery and maybe we can get her back for SummerSlam, which is 8 months into 2024. So that would be an awesome venue for these two to finally have a blow-off giant superstar match. And lastly, I have Bad Bunny versus Dominic Mysterio because one, Bad Bunny is amazing and I want to see more Bad Bunny. I'd love to see him more than once a year, but then again, he's kind of busy, you know, being a giant international megastar. But if he were to make an appearance or two in the WWE, I would love for one of those appearances to be against Dominic Mysterio, because that would be friggin' hilarious. Dominic Mysterio has improved by leaps and bounds, both as an in-ring worker and as a character worker, so he can be somebody that we can rely upon to help carry Bad Bunny to another really entertaining match. But more than anything, like, we have seen the gem that Dominic Mysterio can be when it comes to character work, when it comes to building up something. If they can have a similar build up to the match that they had at WrestleMania, and by they, I mean Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio, this would be awesome. It would be hilarious, and I would love it. And they have history together. It was Bad Bunny that caused Dominic Mysterio to get distracted and inevitably lose to Rey Mysterio. So from a narrative point of view, like, the steps are there. We can get there logically. I'm gonna be honest, I think it's gonna be tough to recreate the magic that was Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. I don't think that we'll ever be able to replicate that. Doesn't change the fact that I want to see more Bad Bunny in the WWE, and I would love to see him be paired up with one of my favorite characters and one of my favorite heels in the WWE in Dirty Dominic Mysterio. But that's it. Those are the matches that I'd personally like to see in 2024, but now is your chance to sound off and tell me what your dream match of 2024 would be. Let me know in the comments down below. Let's debate. Let's get angry about it. Just kidding. Be civil. But that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.